strategy model from the uh, the Japanese Secret to a Long and Happy Life, right over there. And so I wanted to create the model using the AMPS model, which I'll get into in a second, and show you how you can use this as a tool to use it as Ikigai, or also how to use it for your business specifically as well. So I'll just bring the strategy cam, the strategy supermodel cam into place here, and let's get this rolling. There we go. So you can see that I've got the two or the multiple models here. And it comes from the fact that we want to be able to produce the 3D model here. And this is the ultimate tool that we want to be able to work with, as well as how do we actually take a concept, and in this case, like Ikigai, and rearrange it, rethink it, reimagine it. How can we actually create it into something useful so we can use it in this shape, which allows us to touch it, see it, and of course to feel it as well. And that really elevates our strategy in terms of what's important to us and how we want to be able to do that as well. So it's really quite easy to be able to do that. But first, we have to kind of go back to the basics and say, okay, well, how do we actually um, convert that model of Ikigai into something as a strategic tool? And again, the model that we're going to show you allows us to be able to pick and choose how we create it. And that's the ultimate power of it, is that we can actually use this 3D model tool to be able to design our own strategy model as well. So don't think of it as just sort of showing this Ikigai model, but also showing it for your own strategy model, which you're more than welcome to be able to build as well down the road. So we want to start with the Ikigai model, and that's what we wanted to be able to do and to show as well. So I want to show this and make sure that you're able to see it. So I'm just going to minimize myself down here and go with the strategy supermodel cam at the top as well. And really all we're doing is taking the Ikigai and translating it into the 3D model that becomes the Kodo model that we can actually see in your hands as well. So honestly, what is the Ikigai model about? You've probably seen this image here quite a lot. What are you good at, what the world needs, what you can be paid for, and what you love. And then you have the intersections of passion, profession, mission, and vocation as well. And these are great concepts, right? This is fantastic in terms of what we can actually do with this and how we can actually use it as well. So what I've done is taken the value triangles that I've created over developing strategies and that sort of thing, and seeing how we can actually play into this, how we can sort of integrate the Ikigai model into the transformation model here as well, and what specifically we need to be able to do that. So it's not that difficult, really. We've got 4 spaces, 4 value triangles: Ikigai, what you love, what you can be paid for, what you're good at, and what the world needs as well. And if we look at it as well, we can see the extra intersections as well: the mission, the passion, the grand outcomes. And ultimately, these are going to fold up, and we're going to be able to see how we can do that. And so those become the common area here: passion. We'll have to find those passions, because these two sides are going to be complementary and are going to be touching as well as we get into this. Profession, vocation, mission, grand outcomes as well is something that I needed to add. And also looking at how we can actually detail out some extra dimensions onto this model as well, which really kind of help us use it to that sort of elevate the level that we can actually use it as well. So we have certainty, competency, and clarity over here. And on the inside, we also have direction, speed, and impact. So what are the changes that we're doing, and how are they able to help us with that change as well? So if we convert that into an A4, it's basically just something you send out onto your printer, and you're able to download that tool as well. And just let me show this up here in a sec. So you're able to download this Ikigai model PDF from the strategystorming.co website, and it's pre-populated for you. So I encourage you to go do that, and then that allows you to be able to see it and to cut it out, which is going to be the next step. And then you can actually fold it and make it into your own specific model as well. So without further ado, this is where we want to take it. So we've created it, we've translated it into from the Venn diagram, uh, the intersecting circles into something that's actually useful to us for our model. We've printed it out onto an A4 size sheet, and now, quite simply, what do we want to do? We just want to cut this shape out. And if you haven't been cutting shapes out, you're really missing out, because this is where all the fun began back in grade school, right? When you're able to cut these pieces out and make some shapes as well. And this is, you know, the epitome of how do we actually see, how do we change what strategy actually is and what we can actually use and what we can do with it as well. Because ultimately, that's what's really important is how do we actually make strategy easier? How do we make it easy to see, easy to assemble, easy to understand, easy to implement as well, obviously, because one of the cool things is that this becomes a roadmap. That's obviously a discussion for another day, but that becomes the whole guiding principle behind you and your business. And again, this is just using the example of Ikigai, so that you can see how it all fits together and what's really important and what's not, and what we can kind of get rid of, and what we decide that is really important to be able to do that as well. So let me just put that away. And then all we have to do is fold it, right? And again, it's a little bit of origami, but it's really easy. We just fold it into a few little pieces like this, and it's starting to take shape. 1, 2, 3, 4. So we have the 4 value triangles, and ultimately that's what we want to do, is be able to see how do we stack this value across the entire business, across the entire concept, and that sort of thing. And ultimately, that's what we're doing, is we're stacking the value so that we can actually see it, and so that we're able to cut it into shape, and we're able to put it together. And then we're led to the final model here, which then we can see, we can touch, we can feel, we can pass this off to our colleague, we can show them, we can demonstrate, okay, this is what we wanted to be able to talk about. And these are the steps that's really, really important. So Ikigai, step number 1, what you love. Step number 2, what you can be paid for. Step number 3, what are you good at? And step number 4 is what the world needs. And we can actually go through all of these different elements and sub-elements specifically. So remember, we talked about vocation, we talked about mission. Right now we can see the intersecting edges of the specific model as well. And that's the cool part, is that we can actually decide, okay, what is it that we want to get from this model? So passion and passion, profession, ground outcomes, right? And ultimately, where are we going? We're heading for the apex of the business, our life, our profession, and that sort of thing. And what do we need for that? We need clarity, certainty, and competency as well. And a fun little trick as well that we can do once you've printed it out is just apply a little bit of glue. Pretty easy. And that's all we need to do, is just add a little bit of glue so it sticks in there, and then you don't need to worry about it as well. And again, you can print these on thicker paper. This is just your average letter paper type thing, but you can also use thicker paper as well, and just squeeze it so it sticks. And there you go. And that's the ultimate model that you want to be able to use. So now, again, we can look at how can we integrate Ikigai into our business concepts, but also into this new tool, this new strategy tool. And it gives us ultimately an architecture that shows us, okay, well, what's important for this, and how are we actually using it to kind of give our ideas and give our challenges structure, right? And ultimately, that's what we wanted to be able to do, is give it some structure to say, okay, what can we use as an architecture to be able to solve our challenges, to be able to understand what it is that we can actually see, and how are we going to actually do that as well. So ultimately, that's what I wanted to show you, is quickly, how can we do this? How can we use a different way of thinking about strategy, and how can we kind of build an architecture around it so that we can ultimately see, what does this problem look like? What does this challenge look like? What does this insight look like? And we can really ultimately create these for any solution, any challenge. We have to, obviously follow the format of it in terms of having, specific elements. In this case, 4, but we also have like 12 and 15 sub elements and focal points as well that allow us to be able to see it concisely, clearly, and understand what exactly it is that we need to be able to do in that case as well. So that's all I wanted to show you for this video. So hopefully you've been able to see what it looks like, what you can actually do and how you can do it. And again, this is just for the Ikigai model. We're going to have sort of more strategy supermodels that I'm going to be showing and breaking them out, whether it's a SWOT analysis, whether it's a business model canvas, whether it's a specific company that will be able to use the tool to be able to see how does it fit together and that sort of thing. Blue ocean strategy. So we're going to take all these different ideas, conceptual ideas, and we're going to reduce them into a visual, again, a cool little tool that we can actually take and touch and see. And some of the other videos I'll be doing is going to show you how can we actually make this into a roadmap. So we have the architecture, we have the brand architecture, the brand strategy architecture, right? What can we do with this? We can, next step is to put it into an actual roadmap as well. So that's all I wanted to talk about. Thank you very much. If you wanted to be able to download the Ikigai strategy model for free, just head to that website as well. And you'll be able to download it and print it off and cut it out. And love to see if you do that. I'd love to, please tag me at Doyle Bueller, and happy to give some feedback as well. If you wanted to reevaluate it for your other business or your other models, then that certainly is an option as well. And I have a work kit as well that I can provide towards that as well. So if you just want to read more about this, please feel free to go to the blog post as well as how do you actually find your Ikigai for business professionals, consultants, entrepreneurs, strategists, and that sort of thing. So use the QR code there, or just send me a text message or a message or whatever, and we can I can send you that link as well. So thank you so much. Really appreciate the time to take a look at the video and see how we can rethink and reimagine and really ultimately um, uh, redefine how we actually see strategy and how we can think about it more inclusive. And that's what strategy storming is about. So thank you for your time, and we will see you next time online.